Okay, got the red smoke.
Gun runs north to south, west of the smoke, west of the smoke.
Okay, copy. West of the smoke. I'm looking at danger close now.
Come on with it, baby. Give it to me. I need it. Get cleared hot.
Copy, cleared hot.
I love that I'm sitting on a Yeti Go box and I'm still taller than you guys.
I was telling Leah when we were on our way here, I said, I hope he didn't get any taller. It's disturbing how big you are, actually.
Sorry.
I have to slouch, yeah.
Trust me.
Yeah. Okay, go ahead and talk about your shoes, guys. Let's just go ahead and open with things that are important to you. That's fun. I'm sure the audience will love it.
Well, he's got an American-themed J1 low top, so what's wrong with that?
I understood low
Ass
top.
monkey.
I understood low top.
You understood American.
Yeah, that part.
Okay.
What's the other part?
So
I am not a
make
shoe
it?
guy in any way, shape, or form.
These are Air Jordan 1s. So it's like the very first Air Jordan.
Are they
this one isn't technically the
I was going to say, are they
first.
replicas of that?
Yes. They've made a comeback. And these, I have a little camo accent on the back. Mm-hmm. He's red, white, and blue. And you're in Vans, which are also awesome.
These are American-made
California.
AG2s. Vintage.
No, they're not.
I don't have any clue. These are probably made by...
I think those are HMEs or something.
I don't know. I think these are the winterized ones.
Winterized ones? What do they have, antifreeze in them?
Look, dude, look at this traction. These are waffle stompers.
No, these are actually really good. These are quiet for stocking. Vans makes a really awesome, like, their lower sole is, like, really soft on gravel. I wear the Vans with the BOA and the Gore-Tex.
How much do you trust the BOAs?
A lot. I haven't had one fail yet. Have you?
I traditionally don't wear them except for my snowboarding boots, and we just got back from a 2-day snowboard.
Did you get the Vans? Did you get the Vans ones?
Oh, I didn't, and I honestly can't remember. I think they might be Burton boots. I've had them for quite some time, but every day we had at least one BOA eject. Not from mine, and they were able to be fixed, but it would pop off the side of the boot. And they were fixable, and the boot was usable.
Well, sounds dumb. My Vans don't do that one.
Have you ever snowboarded with them?
Yeah, I have the Vans snowboarding boots. They're awesome.
The ones you've used one time in Montana?
I mean, one time with you. Normally I do it more with other friends that invite me more, like Mark Carter, but not to name
He's
drop
never
or anything.
invited you snowboarding?
Yeah, I actually went heliboarding with him.
No, you didn't go heliboarding. You, after Montana, were around Mark, and he got into a helicopter. You got into a helicopter, too. They let you off on what's known as a bunny hill on the top.
You can say what you want.
I was there.
You weren't there.
Yes, I was. Remember we Traegered in the parking lot that day? I had boarded with him all day at the resort.
I don't remember you going up there.
I wasn't in the helicopter because I left. That was pure just content photo shoot.
That was not.
Show the run down the hill.
Okay, hold on. Let's see.
Forward it to me. We'll put it in the episode.
Yeah, I got to find the date.
Yeah.
I got to find the date.
Sixth week of August?
Possibly, but hold on. Let's see here. Let's see.
Mark shredding.
Hold on. March 16th, 2019.
Yeah, I was there.
Okay. You were in the loser area.
Yeah.
Is where you were.
Yep.
Okay, let's see. There's me and you in Whitefish when you literally, I had never known how to snowboard, and you took me up to the highest one off the get-go, and
you're welcome.
You're like, bro, have fun. That was a good test. And then let's see. Here we go. I mean, I'm pretty sure that's me.
That's Mark Carter.
Mark Carter with stilts on his legs.
You cannot make turns like that.
What are you talking about, bro? This is me right here.
Not.
Up. Okay.
100% not you.
Okay. Mark was way better than me.
For those of you who can't see the video, which is all of you, it's a picture or a video of somebody snowboarding from behind. You can't even see their face. No, that's not you. Okay. If that was you, you would have been eating shit already.
No, that was me just getting after it.
No.
Don't be jealous, dude, for the raw, natural talent I have.
PB and jealous?
Yeah. See, there's Mark. Notice how
he is standing. He is a wee man. God, that is a great picture.
There's Mark standing on a Yeti, and we're the same height.
I went snowboarding with him.
But notice how I have black pants. He had the camo pants. I couldn't get those last minute or anything.
I went snowboarding with him at a resort. He was doing shit that boggled my mind. Oh, yeah. Want some of that action?
Not again. Look at the vein in my head from that choke you were putting on me.
Just tell you
looks like the flux capacitor.
That little grip
from,
right there is not going to help you.
In the back of the DeLorean.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was you nuked me that day, but jackass.
It'd only be worse now.
It would be so much worse. Yeah.
I think I had been training for a year at that point.
Yeah, it would be bad right now. It'd
we
probably
were in Salt Lake
easier.
City. That was at Dwight's gym.
Yeah, that was really fun.
Yeah.
Sorry to alienate you, Clay. Feel free to join the conversation.
We're just reminiscing over the galactic amount of dumb shit that we've done over the years we've known each other. Okay, so we're in Iowa, near Des Moines. That's the right way to say it, right? Or is it Des Moines?
For French, yeah.
Des Moines.
Des Moines for out-of-towners.
Clay, let's start off. Introductions. People know Dudley. He actually might be the single most returned guest on the show, so that one's easy. But Clay, introduce yourself and what you do and kind of explain the event that we are at. I want to use this episode as a way for people to figure out what the event is and launch the raffle.
And win big.
Well,
this is cool.
They have
This
to
is
participate.
probably my favorite raffle we've ever done.
Yeah.
This is big. If you're a hunter, listen. This is insane.
Even if you aren't a hunter, I would enter into this raffle and give shit to people I know who
100%. 100%. Yeah, 100%. If you've got a business and you have anyone that would qualify, it would be worth getting some tickets because this would be like the best employee gift you could hand to someone, especially given the parameters of being able to win and then to be able to give that away at a business. It'd be pretty cool.
Yeah.
Tell us about it, dude.
Yeah.
Well, introduce yourself first and then break
Yeah.
it all down for us.
Yeah. My name's Clay Garcia. I'm the executive director for the Helping Heroes Foundation. We kind of operate, we'll call it coast to coast, but our goal is to get vets and first responders outdoors, largely through hunting, fishing, anything that we can do to get them out, with kind of the overall goal of mental health, wellness, the suicide pandemic, if you will, that we're in.
Yeah, no kidding.
But in the end, we just try to connect vets and cops and firefighters with the outdoors.
How long has it been around?
We started so around 2019-ish. I had my battalion commander when I was with Tutu in Fallujah. He committed suicide in 2019. So shortly after that is what started it.
How long had he been out?
Boy, I don't know that exactly. Because when I got out, he was in for another 10 years or so.
Yeah, I ask because I feel like there's a sweet spot of danger for people, and I have no data to support this. This is just anecdotal, my own experiences. There's like a 3-year danger window, and then there's a little bit of a longer, like a 10-year danger window.
Without looking at the dates, I think it was relatively quick.
Yeah,
so it
inside of that initial window,
3-year
okay,
window. Yeah.
Heavy topic for sure. Do you think there's a actual solution for it?
Oh, I tell you what, Andy, I'd actually no, I don't. I think there's ways around it. I think there's ways to identify it. I think there's ways to better it, but I just don't know, man. If there is, I wish we knew.
Yeah. Unless you could solve it for
know.
all of society, I don't think it's possible to end it completely. It is statistically in the first responder military community at a rate that is orders of magnitude greater than the civilian populace.
Yeah.
And I've thought a lot about it, not by choice, just because of the people that I have known. I also wonder how much their experience prior to entering the occupation plays into it as well, because oftentimes you hear about specifically veteran suicide, their military service, only the deployments that they did, but this story starts at their journey into the military. Mm-hmm. And I'm curious as to the impact of their earlier life and the trajectory and the choices that they made later on too.
Yeah.
If you come into, I was doing a podcast with Dr. Paul Conti yesterday, of all things, and he's a PhD psychiatrist. He was on the Huberman. He did like a 4-part series on mental health on Huberman's podcast, and we were chatting about it. And that trauma from earlier in life, undealt with, you stack it with the occupational trauma from the military life. Yeah. It's not like one makes the other one better. It's just even more weight in your backpack or rucksack, whatever term you would want to use. Yeah, I often hear people talking about the military service, and I'm curious. And I asked him the question, do people who come from a more traumatic background, do you think that they would be more enticed by a first responder or military career? And he said, absolutely. Mm-hmm. So, I don't know. I don't know where that leads us.
No, a handful of years ago when I kind of started getting into the mental health thing, so I'm a firefighter too by trade, so we've implemented a fantastic program at the fire department. So we require every single firefighter, from myself all the way down to the brand newest firefighter, you're required annually to go see a mental health physician.
For how long?
1 hour. So fantastic program. But what that does, in my opinion, statistically speaking, there's somebody on the department that needs to go. So the rest of you can suck it up for that one person. We're not asking you to raise your hand, do that whole thing, but everybody goes, and we hope you get something from it. So kind of a cool deal. But in that endeavor of when I really started taking this serious, if you will, after Captain Bairstow committed suicide, I started kind of thinking like, what is the problem? What's the core root of the issue? And I came up with this obviously very uneducated assumption or guess or hypothesis, if you will, but I think it comes down to a mission statement. What's the first thing that we're taught when you step into boot camp? A mission, right? Mission statement.
Well, what branch are you in?
In the Navy.
Okay, so, I don't know necessarily if we were taught shit about a mission.
Probably not.
I was taught port and starboard and how to fold my underwear into a knife cutting edge.
You're 45s. You're 45.
I was going to say, let's rein that back a bit.
So, okay.
Maybe the Marine Corps and Army are taught about mission.
Fair enough. But I think we had purpose, we had drive, we had all of those things.
Community too.
Yep. The camaraderie that everybody talks so much about. The day you EAS, they take it all away from you. Now you got nothing. So one thing I talk to the firefighters a lot about is, what is your personal mission statement? What's something that you believe in that keeps you on the path? You start veering away from something, what's going to put you back on it? And I think that's a hard reality for some people, is that they don't have one. In theory, you might think, yeah, I may have one, but do you truly have one? Have you written it down? And is it something that you follow? So I think in the military community, when you get out of the service, what do you have? Right? You go away, your brotherhood, your sisterhood is away from you, their state's over, and what do you have? So then I think you start compounding things onto that. If it be debt, if it's bad relationships, all that kind of stuff just adds up. And I think one thing we learn to some extent in the military is the value of life, right? And I'm not sure some vets see it, and this stuff starts to add up. They don't have that mission, that purpose, that hope. These things that we leaned on the military for is all gone. Now what? You make a decision. You know, that's a permanent decision to...
Almost always associated with alcohol, too, at least for the community I come from. It's more... I mean, not always, but from the math doesn't really lie on it. It's probably well into the 90th percentile.
Well, I'd say when I got out of the military, a handful of years, I was talking to my psychologist at the time, and we were talking about my stint at Iowa State University, which was largely a blur because I was drinking so much. And she said, "What do you think you were, running from something or hiding something?" And I'm like, at the time, I didn't put two and two together, but I think you're right. I think a lot of it has to do with that.
What did you do in the Navy?
I was a corpsman.
Okay. We call them pecker checkers. It's not a big...
Let me preface this. I was stationed at Camp Lejeune.
Okay, so you were probably FMF corpsman.
I was, okay, yeah. So when I talk to either Marines or anybody, I have to tell them that. So yeah.
That's one of the things that you really gravitated to, Andy, when you got into bow hunting. Was you said, I feel like there's so many people that are missing this mission. And it was like mission training of what's the purpose of what I'm doing.
Yeah.
And
or having an end state that they can kind of drive towards.
Yeah.
As opposed to a spinning compass. And they're like, fuck, I don't know. I guess I'm going this way today.
And at that time, you and I were, we were hunting like every season that was available throughout the quarters, I guess, of the year. You're like, well, what do I need to do to be ready for that one? And I'm like, you got it. You're going to have to do this. And even like when we went to that first tack, it was really prep for some of our more extreme style of, backcountry hunting. but you were dorking out with the fact that, different applications needed different gear.
Oh, yeah.
And different physical training.
I've always been a gear nerd, though.
You're totally a gear nerd.
I was the kind of guy who would get issued a vest of some kind, and I would go take it down to the airloft and move a pocket 1/4 of an inch or cut off. I mean, holy shit. I remember, let's just say there was a difference in volume of gear and weight of gear between my first deployment and my last.
It was patrol. I remember the first patrol in Iraq. Everybody's got the knee pads, elbow pads.
I think I had 14 fucking mags the first time I went out the door and almost went down from just exhaustion and heat stroke. If you had showed me when the post 9/11, if you had showed me what I was going to wear my last day versus what I thought I was going to put on my first one, like, you're psychotic.
Yeah.
Like, so you're suicidal, huh? That's what we're going to go with? I mean, Molly gear, which is, I forget, it's like, what does it stand for? Mission-oriented pieces of shit that gets really heavy in fluid of any kind.
And
I
you
think
can
that's
stack it.
Yeah, that's the technical definition of Molly. It's this weaving of fabric, and it locks it in, and it is so heavy, and it gets bulky so fast. And I would just go with razor blades and start cutting that shit off because ounces become pounds, and pounds just punish you in places that are 10,000 feet. Yeah, and so I was that guy. I would get a piece of gear, and I would look at it, I'm like, this pocket would be better 1/4 of an inch over. And I also enjoyed sewing, though, too. So I would totally nerd out on the gear side of the house. So, yeah, when you were talking about bow hunting, I'm like, oh, so this is what that new credit card's for. I need all of these things.
I was like, why do you have a 5,800 backpack on? You're like, well, where does my javelin go?
I actually custom made that backpack. It was excellent. It was a Alice pack frame from Vietnam. It was good. My Buzz Lightyear backpack. I enjoyed it. Many others didn't, but that's, sometimes that's the way the cards lay out on the table. How long did you serve, Clay?
5 years.
Okay.
I joined in 2002 and got out in 2007.
All right. And then straight into the fire service, or obviously after the drunken college years?
So when I got out, I went to school at Iowa State to be a teacher. I wanted to get away from medicine and everything that was helping people. And then handful of those drunken years, I was a broke college kid. I still had my an endorsement to do evaluators for the state, so I went back and because I was broke, so I went back to a local hospital and helped state proctor EMT students. And then I realized that I don't want to say I missed it, but I wasn't good at shit else, so it kind of brought me back in, and fast forward 15 years and still doing it.
How would you say, so the person that every firefighter goes and sees for an hour, do they have the ability, if they felt like they needed to pull somebody off of a shift?
He does. So the physician that we call it a PAC program, or proactive annual check-in.
Yep.
He does have the ability. So obviously there was a lot of red tape, and a lot of questions came about this program. Completely confidential, all that. But if that does happen, he does have the ability to do that. What
would the impact be on the two-part question? What would the impact be on the firefighter if the decision was made by the therapist, or if a firefighter came forward and said, hey, like, I need some time because my eggs are scrambled upstairs? Is it career ending for them?
I don't know that. There'd be a significant process in place. In my opinion, that's a good thing. Like, we've caught this ahead of time.
Yeah. It's also the main reason why people won't come forward, though, because they don't want to put the brakes on their career.
And vets, firefighters, cops, we're all, to our core, that's who we are. And you take that away from us, you take a lot. So that was actually discussed quite a bit. But he does have the ability to do that. Could it be career ending? Absolutely.
Yeah. Maybe it should be for some people.
I do think so.
I mean, I was thinking of scenarios of, like, where would it be justified where you're not, like, robbing someone of what would keep them on this side of the edge. But yeah, there's definitely times when some people are self-destructive too. So, like, at what point, especially, I was a volunteer firefighter in Wisconsin, and when you're in some of those situations, I mean, you could see where in some cases, if they're on the other side of the ledge, everybody's going to be trying to save that situation. Whereas if that person was just trying to end that situation, you would end up like, you could literally take out the whole department because no one's going to leave that guy there, right?
It's a slippery slope, man. But yeah, I think, the doctor we use is fantastic. His brother's a cop. He understands the industry. So obviously I have the utmost trust in him and that decision, but I do think you're right. It would be a slippery slope. You pluck that element of a mission out of a firefighter, you took their identity away.
But what if that identity is the one thing that's going to end up taking their life? Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
like
I hear that.
It truly is walking on a razor blade. And I don't have answers for any of this. I've kicked around the idea with a bunch of friends of mine that I used to serve with, or just asking them, do they think they should put a maximum limit on combat exposure? Mostly because, blast wave exposure, all the things that come with that. Like, is there... I mean, I think the data is pretty conclusive as to, especially when it comes to traumatic brain injury, all the things associated with the blast exposure, even in a training environment. It can be done and have little impact, but it has to be managed and tracked. And it can absolutely get over to the other end where it changes your brain chemistry and people start making choices that are not in their best interest. And I think most of the guys would argue not to have a limit put on them until they were at the tail end of their career and they realized it would have been the best thing for them. So I don't know if it's possible, and I don't know if the guys would allow it. I don't know. I don't know many careers that are like that, where the impact it may have on you, and in the short term, like, fuck it. I love it so much. This is who I am. I'm going to keep going.
But firefighters do it all the time. And it's the most selfless, same thing as vets and cops. But, you'll put your marriage second to your service. If it's the fire department, you'll put you'll miss your son's t-ball game because I got to work, right? Where's your priorities lying there, right? Going back to what's your mission, right? If your job is ahead of your kids, then you're off base.
Well, let's be clear too. I mean, if you gave me the choice between suicide and watching a 6-year-old play t-ball, I might kill myself.
I coach my
you know what I mean?
My son's 8. My son's 8 and I help coach. Nothing will test your patience like an 8-year-old.
It's the worst. It is
three-quarters of the game is the catcher walking to the backstop to pick the ball up.
No, they're like trying to throw the ball back, and it's just like the shortstop. And like, the ball's on a fucking tee. Hit it. It's time to be a man. All right, you're 6. And they don't. And they hit the tee, and the ball drops, and they just run with the bat in their hand. Children's sports will destroy it. I went to oh my God, I don't know if you've heard this story, Dudley. I went to my daughter's basketball tournament. I'm sorry, Julie, if you ever listen to this.
I didn't want to say it, but I was going to say, I went to a women's 8th grade basketball tournament, and I remember it was 4-6 at the end of the game.
Dude, they went into, like, I don't know what's past quadruple, but it was whatever that number was, overtime.
Quince?
Yeah, quinceanera overtime or whatever it was. So her team historically was garbage. They did not win much. And we get to this tournament and they fucking start winning. So every time they win, they're going farther into the bracket. And as I'm like, I love my daughter to death, but if I have to watch another child throw a basketball in a non-shooting fashion at a hoop where it is only just flying through the air like it's
6 feet away.
Jeez. I mean, not even hitting the backboard, not even hitting the net. It's just like bouncing off the wall. So they end regulation, and I don't know what the score was, but it was barely into the double digits. They continued on sudden death overtime for like 6 overtimes without a fucking basket being sold.
I feel like that's when the net needs to be lowered, though, because it just comes down to like physical ability, right? It's like,
I don't know. So
or like give them a mini basketball until they're in junior high or high school or something.
Leah's texting me like, "Hey, how come you're not home yet?" And
I'm
like, I don't have the vocabulary to describe to you what's happening. She's like, well, what does it look like? And I was like, it looks like pygmies fucking. Like, I don't know what's happening. This is a display of athleticism that would, I mean, you definitely would medal at the Special Olympics, but not like.
God dang, bro.
It was. Hey, I'm not knocking
Welcome
the Special.
To the Cleared Hot podcast.
I'm not knocking the Special Olympics. It's amazing, but
super amazing.
My jaw was on the floor.
Yeah.
Eventually, it was ended because they stopped playing and they put people on the free throw line.
It'd be like if they had the pole vault in junior high and like starting height was 10 foot. You'd just be watching a bunch of kids that didn't even know how to work their feet that were that size yet. And then a pole, like, it would just be a disaster.
Like the crescendo is somebody would drive down the court unguarded and just throw the ball back behind the backboard. And like the parents, because they just wanted to leave.
Yeah.
And then it would come charging back the other direction. The parents were just like, yes. And it would like go off the wall. And then, yeah, they finally just like, we're going to do a sudden death free throw contest.
How long did that last?
It was like 15 shots. It was one of the most amazing things I've ever seen in my life. So,
God.
Now that I think I've offended almost everybody, let's talk about this raffle.
We're back on pace.
Okay, yeah. So, yeah, for anybody who wants to skip ahead through all of that and me getting cease and desist letters from the Special Olympics, let us talk about how people can get involved in the actual organization itself.
Yeah, so a lot of our stuff, obviously we do a lot of hunting, fishing here in the state of Iowa, all over the place. But we put everything out on Instagram, Facebook. If you got a hunt or something that interests you, fill the application out and come out and hunt with us.
Okay. Specifically, so obviously tomorrow, by the time this episode comes out, this is Friday, it'll come out in 7 days. We're going to do a banquet tomorrow. Nick Lavery is going to be coming. What would you call it? Is he doing like just a presentation, a keynote speech?
Yeah, keynote speech. It's going to be tailored to kind of the mental health side and
okay.
He's a
wellness. He's a great one to talk about that. Fake Boston accent for anybody listening. But involved in this,
he's actually from New York, I heard.
Yeah, I mean it's probably from
Yankees fan?
Louisiana, but nobody listening to this obviously can be involved in that. I guess they could reach out if they wanted to be, or they were in the Des Moines area and wanted to be perhaps involved next year, depending on where you guys host it. But we recorded an episode for the Nock On podcast earlier and talked about the raffle opportunity, though, which is an opportunity for people, like we kind of opened with. Even if you're not a hunter, I bet you know somebody who does hunt. And once we kind of talk about what's involved in this and what the cost is and what it'll be, I think it'll make a little bit more sense to people. So if you could unpack a little bit what it is you're going to be offering through the raffle and then how people can actually participate in that.
Yeah. So this year, one of our big hunts that we do are whitetail hunts, obviously getting to come into Iowa. So through mutual friend, Brian Chantosh, went hunting with him last year, chatted with Brian. This year we were going to do our first archery hunt. We historically stayed away from archery hunts, obviously the difficult nature of it. If we bring you here, we want you to shoot a deer. But we have an opportunity this year to do an archery hunt. So chatting with Tosh about it, he said, why don't you reach out to Dudley and see if he want to get involved in somehow. I'm like, oh, man. He lives right down the road.
Thanks, Tosh.
He's a stud.
Love the dude, man.
Yeah, I've known Tosh for a long time. He's awesome.
I could talk for hours about that guy. But so I reached out to John and I said, hey, man, this is a random cold call to you, but this is what we're trying to do. This is what I'm thinking. What do you think? And he says pretty much to the frame of let's just not do it, but let's do it big. So what the raffle's going to be this year is a chance to win a custom bow by John. John will build you a custom bow. But when you sign up for the ticket, you're going to get to nominate a disabled veteran. There's some criteria that must be met. 30% disabled.
That's what we were unsure of.
You said 100, jackass. I knew it wasn't 100.
That was a guess. It was a guess.
Close-ish.
Well, and we were pretty
like,
clear.
It's 100, I think.
When we were clear for your show, we were like, we actually don't know what we're talking about. So we knew there was criteria.
40.
We just didn't know what the criteria was. Yeah.
So there's some criteria. Obviously, you got to be proficient with a bow. 30% disabled.
Not necessarily. You can work through that.
Yeah.
Let's just get them here.
Well, talk about the bow build. Like that boy you have behind you.
Pick it. I'll build it.
Okay.
That's it.
Does that mean
they can literally pick any PSC they want, and I'll build it.
Do you throw the stabilizer on there, the sight, the arrows come with it?
Come on, nerd. Yeah.
How many arrows in the quiver?
Well, if it was yours, I'd give you
12.
one.
That's all you need.
I'd give you one of Sharon's.
Yeah. I would use it, and then I would climb down and then
It's going to be a legit build. Actually, I might not say for you to pick it. I'm going to get something made that's pretty dope.
They actually, especially if they're not a bow hunter, or actually even if they are, they should probably just kind of tell you their style, and it'd probably be best to let you pick it.
Like, that's easy stuff to work through for me. That's easy stuff.
Okay.
But yeah, you're gonna win something that people are gonna be jealous about. Let's just say that.
Yeah.
And then the hunt would be for a whitetail in Iowa.
Yeah.
Which, if you are not familiar with whitetail hunting, you're like, oh, I don't know if that's a big deal. It's a very big deal, because if you do like whitetail hunting, or you know
5-year wait.
Yeah, if you know
perhaps.
somebody who likes whitetail hunting, just ask them how the whitetail are in Iowa, and you're going to get an earful. So,
Well, and to make it kind of cool, Google Albia, Iowa. That's where we're going to go.
I have no idea
There's
what that is.
a world record.
It's about 35 miles.
Yeah, world
east of
record
here.
buck was shot there 15 years ago.
Oh yeah, the muzzleloader buck, right? What was that buck called? It was a kid shot.
Albia
18-year-old. Oh yeah, was it the Alba buck?
Yeah.
Is that what they called it?
Yeah.
what's going to be the cost of a raffle ticket?
$25 for one, and I
Okay.
think you get.
I fought hard to get that number down. I think the more tickets people can buy, anybody can buy this. And honestly, I want to just say, going back to the beginning of this conversation, if you know someone that loves the outdoors and you even think is struggling from, a mental perspective at all, this could change their life. I've seen it in vets.
Yeah.
I mean, this is why when you called me, I'm like, absolutely. Like, I'm in, but I'm not only in, but I'm going to make it better, which is then I called Andy, because this is a governor tag. Like, let's not downplay this. You're getting a governor tag. You're going to get a doe tag and a buck tag. And, that thing's statewide too, even though you got them going to a dynamite place. Historically, that's where Bill Winke's from. Chuck Adams was a member of like the original ranch there. Freaking Larry Zock was. There's so many that come from there. So that place is awesome. But I wanted to make sure, even if you work with someone where you're like, this person got injured, they're first responder, they're a veteran, whatever, nominate that person, because this could be just a life-changing experience for them, especially if you know that they're struggling with something. Yeah. Like for me, like if we can save a life, that's the ultimate prize out of this whole thing.
It's tough because you never know about the ones that you do save. You know what I mean?
I honestly...
you can hypothesize, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
You see the change in people, but it's such a tough metric because the other side of that coin is really easy to track.
Right.
It's really hard to see the impact of stuff like this.
I get asked all the time, how do you quantify what you're doing? You can't. You simply
No.
can't. But I oftentimes go back to the hunt, the golf outing, whatever that we're doing. And I personally, it's probably sound cheesy, but I quantify it by a smile. If I can get a smile on your face, is that not the epitome of what we're trying to do? We're bridging the gap between a vet, a cop, a firefighter, a kid. We do a lot of kid hunts, but a smile. If I can bring a smile to your face on a dark day, on a dark time, give you the hope, all that kind of stuff. But yeah, it's not a quantifiable thing, unfortunately.
Where do they buy the raffle tickets?
So we'll have the link on our website, helpingheroesfoundation.org. It'll be right on the front page. Click the link and
Limited time to buy, though, correct?
correct. I think we're gonna.
We'll put the links.
Yeah, for sure. It'll be the show notes.
Yeah, during for this, it'll be in the show notes.
Correct. We'll go live at the airing for.
We said 1 week. I think we're going to
Sunday.
cut it off at midnight
So
on
it'll
the
be 12th to
19th.
Okay.
Yep, 12th to the 19th.
So
Yeah.
you have 7 days, assuming you're listening to this when it comes out on Friday.
Yeah.
100% of the proceeds go.
100% go back to
Boom.
the nonprofit for
Yeah, I'm all in with
veterans and
that.
first responders.
Yeah.
But one thing I want to point out, though, is the winner gets the bow and nominate the veteran. But, if you're not a bow hunter, sign up. And if you win, we'll get it to a good place. That's for sure. So, again, proceeds go back to the nonprofit, but get in on it. It's going to be awesome. I mean, who
It's
doesn't
gonna
want a
be
John
dope.
Dudley bow or hunt Iowa?
I'm trying to think what I want to do now.
Well, you're going to work with them on shooting too, right?
I think it
We're gonna go to the range?
depends who wins it. Whoever, like if it's a first responder that wins it, I might do one thing. If it's a veteran that wins it, I might do another.
It's got to be a vet. Well, the bow. Sorry.
Wait, what?
No. Vet for the hunt. Talking about the bow.
Vet for the hunt?
Vet for the hunt.
Only vets?
Yep.
So it can't be anyone. It can't be a disabled first responder.
It cannot. It has to be
Okay.
a 30%.
It's probably a state restriction on the
It's a
tag.
state
Okay.
restriction. But anybody can win the bow.
Okay.
So
We could get a double combo. We could get a first responder win the bow, and then the vet goes out.
Yeah.
That's sweet.
I dig it.
And then during that week they're coming. This happens to be a year where Andy's going to draw a tag. So I think we're going to try to, depending on the exact times, we're also going to try to have you swing by the school, knock with that person on the way to their hunt, just to kind of do a sight-in with me and Andy.
Maybe put an arrow in the ceiling like Chad.
Like Chad. How about freaking Gardner, dude?
I mean, some people draw aiming at the ceiling. That's fine.
Let's see, Miller, Mendez.
You didn't take Miller's
Gardner.
arrow out of the door, did you?
Sharon did. She claimed that for her fitness area down there, and she's like, "Can I please fill that hole and take the vein out of the door?" And I'm like, "No," but she did.
It's gone now?
It is.
Has it been preserved anywhere?
I think I have it inside of the door.
Okay.
Yes.
And the video still exists, obviously.
Yeah,
Okay.
that's always going to
the classic double clutch with the silverback.
Yep. Be careful. Be careful letting UFC fighters shoot bows in your basement.
I'm so stoked to watch him fight live at 300.
Oh, because you haven't seen him fight live.
I've never been to a UFC live.
Oh, man. Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh,
Actually,
that's awesome.
when this episode comes out, I'll be traveling the next day down. We're only going to be there for like 24 hours.
Okay. That'll be dope.
Yeah.
I actually thought about going to see Jim Stir, but that's when we're first tack, I think, if I remember right.
Maybe he'll come
Wait, is
see
that
you.
next weekend?
He fights on the 13th.
Okay. Oh, yeah, next weekend. Sorry, Jim. Turkey season.
today.
Huh?
Started today.
Youth? It
Yeah.
did?
You think he'll hang it up
I
after
got a
300?
kid right here.
I can't hunt turkeys for fucking save my life. Not during season, at least.
No, you can't. He calls and cows come to the blind.
It's true. That cow put its head in our blind.
Very true.
I think we were blown at that point. You think Jim will hang it up after 300?
I don't think he'll ever hang it up unless he needs to. And, I mean, I don't know. I think the orbital thing hurt him.
Yeah, the finger in the eyes.
Yeah, I think that, changed things. Because obviously when something major like that happens, you would hate to see him get rocked. But I don't know. Hats off. That sucker's, he's just a tacticianer, isn't he? I love the fact that he just owns where he's at, too.
He came to Kalispell to be on the show and trained with us for a day. He's a handful.
I wanted to see you two little spicy peppers go after it.
He's not ready for it. So,
As soon as you had your purple belt and you started talking shit, I'm like, oh
no, I was
this is
talking
gonna
shit
get
to him
good.
before I even started jiu-jitsu.
Of course.
No, he's a savage for sure. Size and strength are a real thing. I'm bigger than Jim.
Yeah.
People who think that it's like this magic wand that levels all playing fields. Like, so you've never done anything athletic in your life, huh?
Yeah.
Like, come on.
Until he leg kicks you.
Well, fortunately, in the rule set we were playing in, that's not allowed.
Yeah, because in a normal situation, I think he'd just break that sweet-ass little bitchy shin you got that has a bullet in it.
I put every advantage in my favor. I made him put a gi on so I could slow him down. He even said, he's just like, my God, my grip is destroyed.
Actually, he told me that.
Yeah.
He's like, I think I just needed more time.
Well, he moves. I mean, they're little gloves, and people get sweaty. And you watch people rip out of stuff. I was like, yeah, let's get a gi on this fast moving fucker, so I can hold on to you as hard as I can for as long as I can, just to slow you down.
He's a rascal for sure.
He's the best. Have you seen the picture of his brother being guillotined with his neck completely it's the hardest kink in any human's neck that I've ever seen. I will show you. I'm not going to take the time to find it now. You will Be shocked.
Was it in one of his fights?
Yes.
One of his brother's first fights? Who was he fighting?
I don't
he was.
remember.
I mean, he
Jim was
an
the one who
OG.
told me about the picture, and then he pulled it up, and I actually didn't think the human neck could contort that way. You will see it, and you'll go, "What?" And he didn't tap to it.
How many brothers are there in the UFC? I know there's the Guidas and the Millers. I know both of those.
Yeah, the
Who
Millers
else?
one was short-lived, I believe, because they're obviously both not still fighting. Jim
Right.
is.
The small one. How long have you been with the department?
I started, I think I'm going on
You're in
15
Ankeny?
years. Clive.
Is it Clive?
Mm-hmm.
Sorry. How close are the departments up that way?
Very.
I was going to say, it's got to be tight.
Yeah. Yeah, anything west of Des Moines, they're all kind of small. But
What's the size of the department now?
we got about 50
Oh, that's sweet.
Are there even any other cities in Iowa other than Des Moines?
Des Moines.
I mean,
It's the only one I've seen.
I would say there's towns outside of that, but that's our only city.
Don't you drive to MSP sometimes to fly out, like international?
I mean, yeah, I'm doing it next month.
Okay.
Me and Ehard going to BC.
We basically got on a Cessna to get here from MSP, so it's like I think that we're a lot closer.
Yeah, it's pretty. It's just a hop from Minneapolis, but you fly Delta. Normally, I'm United, so we're either Houston, Denver, Chi-Town.
Okay. What do you guys want to leave people with? It's probably right around 30 minutes is perfect timing.
I like 35 minutes.
We can go as long as you guys want to go.
I liked where you guys were. I liked where the avenue you're going. I thought it was pretty cool.
What, the suicide stuff?
I mean, that's not cool, but I love, I know from like the TAC events, one of the things that's really difficult at the TAC events for me is how many people come up and tell you that they literally look at me and say, archery saved my life. I mean, and some of the stories are like, they were minutes away from doing it, and then heard a podcast or thought like, Dud and Andy sound like they had so much fun on that hunt. I'm going to do one hunt and then I'll do it, but I want to do one hunt or whatever. And then next thing you know, they're like, that's all I needed. Like, archery was my purpose, and TAC gives me a place to train and to actually have like a mission through the summertime. And I'm not saying it's once. I'm saying it's like, if Sharon was here, she would tell you, we talked to someone that it saved their life every weekend. Mm-hmm. So when you're like, if I get one smile, I'm thinking, no, it's way bigger than that.
Yeah.
It's way bigger than that. And because I hear those things, that's why I'm like, you can't pass up that opportunity. This is not just a person's life. It's their entire family's life too, because it's a domino effect, right? So it's so heavy, and I'm fortunate. Like, I feel like I have like an entire SEAL team around me for the amount of
you do know quite a few guys,
amount of your team guys around me and stuff, and man, I'd do anything for those guys. And it would be, and I mean, Andy went through a really hard time. Like, it was,
you were there for the beginning of that.
It was, bro, I've been with you through like all the ups and downs.
No, I mean, you were there at the point where I made the decision, though, but I was actually going to take action on it.
Yeah, I have like I remember like
sitting on that fucking log overlooking that lake.
Yeah, I have a picture from that. And I can see it. Like, you knew what all was going to happen, and we had a really deep conversation. And then there was times where Andy was like, through that period of time, he was very distant, and it was crushing. Like, it was heartbreaking because, it's like, how do you help a friend that you just need to see him, and just like get him out of that 5 minutes. But if they don't just say something, and that's all it takes is like to say something. Like, if you're in that moment, don't feel embarrassed about it. You have to just, pick up one phone call to someone you've had an awesome experience with in your life and just say, hey, I don't know what's going on right now, but like I need to talk to somebody. And, you know, there was times where I'm like, you know, I was like making Andy promise me like, hey, I'll give you space. But when I check in, you can't not respond. Like you have to just be like, bro, I'm good.
I always told you I'm not going to kill myself. I'll kill everybody else. Go out on a rampage. That's the way to go.
Well, yeah, and I didn't want you to do that either because obviously I've seen what you can do with a quiver of arrows. So.
Yeah, that was a rough 2 years, man.
Yeah, it was. It was. You know, I don't know everything you went through. Obviously, I was there and within your circle during that time, but it's a ripple effect too because people like love you so much from the outside and you're just beating on this like invisible force field, which is literally a force field the person puts up because they start to distance themselves, and it's very transparent from the outside, you know, and sometimes even though the efforts to get in might not seem like they really know or they care, sometimes it's like you don't know how to approach it. So any type of reach, one way or the other, you got to just reach out and grab that hand because people will pull you through it. Mm-hmm. You know, it's you know, Tasha's had some hard days at camps and stuff. And, you know, we've had that in so many experiences where we've been with our Black Rifle, you know, brothers and sisters. And that's why, like, when people ask me about Black Rifle or someone slings mud, you know, it's something that's gone on. I'm like, listen, you know how many freaking lives have been saved from the events that Evan Hafer and Matt Best put people in front of, you know, in front of my passion and helping these people? Like the amount of times where it's saved someone's life is heavy. Mm-hmm. It's like really heavy, but it takes you guys doing things like this to reach out, and then, you know, hopefully something like this, you know, kind of saves someone. And then a lot of times when that happens, that person gets on board and either starts a new one or gets on board with where they're at. I mean, we went to the gala for the Navy SEAL Foundation, mm-hmm. and I mean, that was pretty heavy too. Yeah. Like, I mean, that was really heavy when, you know, a lot of the names came up on the screen, and I was like, you know, I asked Andy, I'm like, how many of those people did you know? And he's just like, bro,
too many.
Yeah, most of them, if not all of them.
Yeah, and that's what he said, and I was just like, whew, that's heavy but horrible.
When
so
the Neil Curry, you know, everything at face value, they look perfect.
Yeah,
but they're fighting a war
that's the thing, man. The face value, I think one of the biggest hiccups that people have is they think that they're the only ones struggling with it. Or if you just, like, one of the things that I think is horrible about social media is it provides people the opportunity to only show their best self. Mm. And so if you don't actually even know the person too, especially, like, everything is curated or has filters or whatever, you know, there's 8 different pictures they could choose one, and they chose the one that presented the best picture that they wanted to present. And if you live in that world and you don't even know those people, I think it's easy to fall into this trap of, well, everybody else's life is great.
Perfect.
And I'm fucked up, and so who am I going to talk to about this? And I think the reality is,
yeah, this guy's happy every day. I'm going to call him and burden him with the fact that I'm down today.
I don't know a single person that's happy every day. I know some very, very happy people. I also know some very, very, very successful people, and they're not happy every day.
No.
And I don't care what your net worth is. I have not met anybody who hasn't had low points of physical low points or emotional low points or the combination of those two things. The people that I don't worry about are the ones that are willing to talk about highs and lows. The people that I do worry about are the ones that say nothing and just kind of drift off into the shadows. Mm-hmm. Those are the people that I've known that have made that. It's not a rational decision to me. In their moment, I realized to them it became a rational choice, even though it was in the greater context of everything not rational. But this idea that nobody else is struggling is such bullshit.
Everybody's struggling.
Oh, fuck. Yeah.
You know, and for me, I was like so thankful for Leah. You know, I remember having a conversation with Leah one time where I'm like, thank you so much, because I was so worried about my friend. But like, you know, it's like through that negativity, all of a sudden, like, here's the sun shining. And
I had to go through that negativity to find her.
I feel like you did.
I did.
I mean, like, in hindsight, I'm like, okay, all that was worth it. I think I said that. I'm like, bro, it's how awesome is it to know all that was worth it? Mm-hmm. But I would never wish those 2.5 years on anybody, let alone a friend. However, in saying that, it's like I have a better Andy at the end of it.
Mm-hmm. I would agree with that for sure. It definitely changed me as a person, but I think for the better.
Yeah. I mean, not as much of a kid anymore now. Like, I
that's
feel
not
like
true
at
at
least
all.
I'm dealing with a 20-year-old.
Oh, God, no. No, probably 15 at best. Leah may take it all back now, too, because now she has to deal with it. She's just like, God damn, I can't believe you said that. Or did that, or both.
Oh, yeah, it's all of the above, dude. Like, I'm going to make this very clear. Yeah, I'm sure at some point it's just like, here we go. Who knows what's... But I think that's why people listen to your podcast. I don't think they actually like it. I think they're waiting for you to make fun of the Special Olympics or whatever the heck you're going to do next.
I didn't make fun of the Special
a-hole.
Olympics. I said that my children's basketball team wouldn't even have medaled at the Special Olympics.
Well, for sure.
Because the Special Olympics is up here.
Yeah, they're so good.
Daughter's basketball team here. Big gap.
Yeah, I mean, if you're comparing 6th grade girls basketball on a regulation NBA size net.
For people out there going to your kids' t-ball games, just remember vodka is the same color as water.
You can hide it in the...
And there's your ending.
That's a joke, everybody, just so you know. I don't advocate that. Don't drive drunk, especially with your kids in your cars.
We're having old fashions. What do you think?
Love it.
It's good.
It's good. And we're empty.
Final thoughts, by
Give him one more. Say it one more time. This is important.
Yeah, when it goes live, so it's going to go live on the 19th? No,
that's closing.
Closing on the 19th. So the 12th. Episodes come out at 5 a.m. Mountain Standard Time. So from whenever you see or hear this, down in the show notes will be a link to the website. You have 7 days from when this episode airs. Actually, 7 days and almost 8, because we're going to close it at midnight on the 19th.
Yeah.
That's your time.
That is your time. Say it one more time.
Custom bow build from John Dudley.
Mm-hmm.
Come out to Iowa for a disabled veteran.
Gov tag.
Yeah.
Wow.
Chase some whitetails around southern Iowa.
You know what governor tags go for just in an auction on their own for any non-resident?
North of 40.
Yeah, exactly.
Are you serious?
40G, dude.
For a whitetail deer?
All day.
We just
all
saw
day.
One just sold for $47,500.
There you go.
I have not seen a deer.
And it's $25 for one. And what was it for? You can buy the...
I think there's a package deal for 6 for $100, and then 20 for $200 or something. I'd have to check, but it's all listed on the through the website. And
100% goes to the right place.
Yep. Veterans, first responders.
Nock On's getting the bow. You and Kim Reynolds doing the G tag. And
Dudley and I'll do some archery shooting with you. By that, I mean I'll stand there and take pictures while he actually teaches you. I'll probably critique your form. Dudley will tell me to shut up.
Let me just refrain. Andy will make sure you have target panic within 7 minutes of shooting at the school. So
that is true, actually. I take a different approach.
Yeah. You derail everyone around you so that you look really good.
No, it allows you to build them up.
Oh,
you know
okay.
what I mean?
You crush them.
Yeah.
Yeah, I need
standard.
to get Andy a shirt on the back. It'll just say "Crusher of Souls."
Yeah, but only to be built back up. You know?
But to be built back up.
Yeah, by somebody else.
Okay. Bob the Builder over here, ladies and gentlemen.
All right, sign up now, everybody.